Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. We hear so much about AI capability, how fast it's moving. It feels like the whole will AI take the jobs question is, well, almost beside the point now.
It really is. The capability question, I mean, that's advancing incredibly quickly, almost quarterly. The real question, the one that matters now, isn't can AI do a job anymore?
Right, it's should it.
Exactly. Should AI do the job? It feels like the tech is, already sprinting ahead while public acceptance is still sort of figuring things out, deciding if it even wants to step onto the field.
And that gap, that huge difference between what's technically possible and what society finds acceptable, that's precisely what we're digging into today. We're using a really fascinating large-scale Harvard study as our guide.
Yeah, it looked at acceptance across, what was it, 940 different occupations. It's basically mapping the public's moral compass for the future of work.
So our mission here is to give you a clear way to think about this. We need to understand these two key ideas from the study. Performance-based resistance.
Which is the kind of resistance that crucially fades away as the AI gets better. It's pragmatic.
And then there's principle-based resistance. This one's different.
Totally different. It's like a moral hard line. It doesn't budge, doesn't matter how good the AI gets, how flawless it seems, that resistance stays firm.
Okay, let's unpack that first one then, performance resistance. This sounds like people saying, look, I'll accept the AI when it's actually better than a human. Is that about right?
That's pretty much it, and the numbers back this up clearly. When the study asked people about full AI replacement using current AI tech, well, support was pretty low.
Hello.
Only about 30% of jobs got majority support for full replacement with today's AI. 30%.
Okay, not very high.
Mm.
But what happens when you change the premise? When the AI isn't just current, but like demonstrably superior?
Now that's where it gets interesting. When they describe the AI as advanced, clearly better, cheaper, faster, support jumps. Big time.
How big?
All the way up to 58.3%, so it nearly doubles. It shows people are, at heart, quite pragmatic about many jobs. If the tool is genuinely superior, more accurate, more efficient, they shift.
So performance resistance is flexible. It moves with the tech. Better tech means less resistance
Yeah.
for a lot of roles.
Exactly. It's a sliding scale. Now, contrast that with principal resistance. This is what the researchers sometimes call measuring moral repugnance AI. Sounds intense, I know.
Moral repugnance. Okay, so this is the hard line you mentioned.
It is, and the study shows something really important here first. AI helping humans. Augmentation. Almost everyone is okay with that. Support is sky high, like 94, 95% across the board.
So AI as a co-pilot, great. AI taking the whole cockpit, that's where the problems start for some jobs.
Precisely. And here's a critical point for everyone listening. Capability does not equal destiny. The study actually tried to correlate technical feasibility. Can AI actually do this job well with moral acceptance?
What do they find? Because the usual narrative is if it can, it will.
Yeah, that's the common wisdom, but the data just doesn't support it here. The correlation was incredibly weak. They reported an R-squared value, basically a measure of how closely those two things align.
And the number was?
Just 0.134.
0.134. Wow. Statistically, that's barely a connection at all.
It's very, very weak. It tells us we're missing the point if we only focus on technical benchmarks. The public isn't just asking, can it work? They're asking, is this right? Is this acceptable?
So acceptance is a social decision, a moral one, not just a tech demo.
Okay, that makes sense. And that distinction helps explain the different categories of jobs they identified.
Exactly. It lets us map the landscape. The study basically sorts jobs into three main buckets based on this acceptance factor.
All right, let's walk through the map. What's the first category?
First up, you've got the easy yes jobs. The study calls them morally permissible. This covers about 36.8% of the occupations they looked at, almost 37%.
And what kinds of jobs fall in here? Think tasks that are really structured, maybe repetitive, often clerical. The public views these roles very pragmatically. It's like judging a new power tool. Is it faster? Is it more accurate?
Examples.
Data entry keyers, file clerks, cashiers, switchboard operators, that kind of thing.
Okay, so for businesses and leaders, the takeaway here seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
Automation pressure is going to be really intense in this zone once the AI is proven better and cheaper.
Replacement is likely to be a fairly straightforward business decision. There's not much moral friction stopping it.
Got it. So that's bucket one. What's next?
Next, we land in the biggest category, the ambivalent middle. This covers just over half of all jobs, 51.3%. This is where people have mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings, how?
Well, they love the idea of AI helping out. Augmentation support here is massive, like 97%, near universal. But full replacement, people get wary, there's caution.
What kinds of jobs are in this big middle group?
It's a really diverse mix. You've got doctors in there, bakers, nuclear power reactor operators, sports medicine physicians. It's broad.
So for these jobs, better AI performance does help increase acceptance for replacement, unlike the next group we'll talk about. But
Yeah.
there's still a but.
Exactly. The ethical concerns don't just vanish completely, even with superior AI. So the path forward here probably isn't outright replacement for many of these roles, at least not soon.
It sounds like the zone for jobs redesigned by AI, maybe hybrid roles.
That's the likely strategy. Think hybrid practice. The AI handles complex data analysis, maybe reduces errors, does the heavy lifting computationally, but the human stays essential for the interaction. The judgment calls, the consent, handling the consequences, the human touch, basically.
Okay, that covers the largest chunk. So we have an easy yes and the ambivalent middle. What's the third category?
The third is the unshakable core. This is a smaller group, about 11.9% of jobs, where the public draws a really bright, non-negotiable moral line. The study labels these as morally repugnant for full automation.
Morally repugnant. Okay, strong words. What jobs fall into this no-go zone?
The list itself is really revealing. It's heavily focused on roles involving deep human care, identity, and ritual. Clergy is right at the top.
Sheet. Okay.
Then you have childcare workers, marriage and family therapists, funeral attendants, even actors and police patrol officers are in this cluster.
And the resistance here, it's different from the other groups.
Oh, completely. Remember how better AI boosted acceptance in the other categories? Here, it makes zero difference. For jobs like clergy or funeral attendants, support for full replacement, even with hypothetically flawless, superior AI.
Let me guess, is it low?
It's 0.0%, absolute zero. It doesn't matter how good you say the AI is at counseling or writing a eulogy. The public says no, full stop.
0%. That's really striking. It's not just low, it's non-existent.
Yeah.
So why? Why is this specific cluster so incredibly resistant, even to the idea of superior performance?
Because, as you said, performance gains just don't move the needle here at all. We've left the realm of productivity metrics and entered the domain of fundamental human meaning and connection.
The study had insights on this, maybe from psychologists.
Yes, the clinical psychologists involved pointed out that these roles touch on the most vulnerable aspects of human experience. Think about it: grief, faith, family crisis, identity formation, childcare.
It feels like it boils down to a few core human needs that AI just can't meet. What are they?
The analysis suggests three main themes. First, dignity and meaning.
Okay, explain that.
Roles like therapy, spiritual guidance, even certain kinds of caregiving, they're deeply tied into our sense of self-worth, our dignity. The researchers argue that putting an algorithm in charge of those moments sends a signal.
A signal that our deepest needs are somehow mechanical or negotiable.
Exactly, that your grief or your spiritual journey or your child's development can be outsourced. And people instinctively reject that signal. It feels dehumanizing.
That makes sense. What's the second theme?
Trust and accountability. So much of this work, especially therapy or pastoral care, relies on what's called a therapeutic alliance. It's about human connection, co-regulation. You share something vulnerable, I witness it, I hold it responsibly.
And you need a person for that, a specific person you can trust who is accountable.
Precisely. People expect a name, a face, a real human being to carry that responsibility, especially when dealing with trauma or deeply personal issues. An algorithm, well, it can't form that fragile bond of human trust. Who do you hold accountable?
Right. You can't build rapport with code in the same way. And the third theme.
The third is ritual and community. Think about funerals, weddings, baptisms, even community policing in some ways. These are rituals that bind communities together, mark transitions, affirm shared values.
An AI could write a perfect speech for these occasions, maybe even deliver it flawlessly.
It could generate the words, yes. But the study argues it can't truly participate as a witness in the way human communities require for these foundational moments. It hasn't lived alongside the community.
It's about being part of the social contract, isn't it? An AI might craft a beautiful eulogy, but it can't stand there with the grieving family, having shared history, bearing witness as a member of that community who feels the loss too.
You've hit the nail on the head. That's it, exactly. The ethical line gets drawn around that human capacity for genuine presence, witness, shared experience, and the responsibility that comes with it.
Okay, this moral map is becoming much clearer. But the study didn't just stop there, did it? It also connected these findings to broader economic and societal issues, particularly inequality.
Yes, and this is really critical. The supplementary findings are quite sobering. They show that this morally protected zone, that 11.9% of jobs with high repugnance scores, isn't evenly distributed across the workforce.
How so? What did they find when they looked at the demographics and economics of these protected jobs?
They found these roles tend to correlate with higher wages, surprisingly, also fewer total employees in those specific occupations, and significantly a greater share of women and white workers tend to be in these morally protected jobs.
Okay, wow. That has some serious implications, doesn't it?
Huge implications. It presents a major policy challenge. If AI job replacement technology primarily targets roles in that morally permissible zone, the routine, structured, often lower paid work,
Which often employ larger numbers of minority workers.
exactly, then the economic disruption, the anxiety, the pressure from AI automation won't be felt evenly across society. It could actually deepen existing inequalities. The stakes of asking, should AI replace this job, feel very different depending on where you are in the economy.
That's a crucial point. So, knowing this complex map, the permissible, the ambivalent, the repugnant, what can people actually do with this information? What are the actionable steps for, say, leaders, managers, or even just individuals thinking about their own careers?
Great question. The study offers some clear guidance. First, for any organization thinking about AI, treat augmentation as your default strategy.
Because it's widely accepted.
Because it's got near universal support, around 94–95%, the fastest path to getting value from AI with the least resistance is almost always going to be assistive AI, helping humans do their jobs better, not trying to replace them outright straight away. Build for acceptance first.
Okay, default to augmentation. But what if replacement is being considered maybe in that permissible or ambivalent zone?
Then communication is absolutely key. You have to explain the why very clearly. It's not enough to just show the AI is capable. You need to make the case for the human outcome. How does this make things safer, better, more accessible? You're essentially earning social consent for the change.
Makes sense. Now,
Right.
what about for individuals listening? How can they use this framework for their own careers?
Use the three categories as a kind of personal compass. If your job falls squarely in that permissive zone, lots of routine, structured tasks, maybe clerical work.
You need to assume automation pressure is coming, and
Yeah.
probably fast.
Right. The advice is learn the AI tools relevant to your field now. Start thinking about how your skills need to evolve or pivot. Don't wait.
Okay. And if you're in that big ambivalent middle, like a doctor, technician, maybe an analyst,
Your focus should probably be on mastering hybrid practice. How do you work alongside AI effectively? How do you leverage its strengths for analysis or error reduction while doubling down on the human skills, communication, empathy, judgment, managing that human AI interface?
become the person who bridges the gap between the tech and the human need.
That's a great way to put it. And finally, if your role is in that morally repugnant cluster, say you're a therapist, clergy, an artist, a caregiver,
The message here seems different.
very different. Here, the public has already drawn the line. Full replacement isn't on the table from an acceptance standpoint, so your focus should be on articulating, documenting, and really demonstrating the unique, irreducible human value that you bring. Why does the human element matter so profoundly in this specific role?
So it's less about adapting to the tech and more about reinforcing the essential humanity of the work.
Precisely. Because the question of replacement in that cluster seems pretty settled, ethically speaking, at least for now. It's a principled no.
This whole deep dive really crystallizes something for me. The entire debate about AI replacing jobs. It fundamentally comes down to human judgment, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's our values, our ethics, our sense of meaning that are shaping this far more than just the raw capability of the technology. And the study suggests we're making two big planning mistakes right now because we forget that.
What are those mistakes?
One is sometimes overestimating AI adoption, where the tech might be technically ready or getting there, but the moral resistance is super high. Think about attempts to use AI actors in major roles or, AI spiritual advisors. There's often significant pushback.
People just don't want it, even if it works.
Right. And the second mistake is the opposite. Sometimes underestimating adoption where the tasks aren't quite feasible for AI yet, maybe complex data management or transcription, but where society has basically zero moral objection.
So the moment the tech does become feasible for those permissible tasks,
Adoption could be incredibly fast, almost overnight, because there's no ethical speed bump. The acceptance is already there, waiting.
so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening? What should they be thinking about after hearing this?
I think the most powerful realization from this study is simply this. We decide what stays human. Humans are drawing these lines. It's not predetermined by the technology.
We have agency here.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And that leads to the challenge, the call to action, perhaps. Keep asking that question. Should AI replace this job? But ask it out loud. In your workplaces, in hiring discussions, in product development meetings, even in schools.
Don't just focus on the benchmarks and the capabilities.
Exactly. Use your values, use our collective sense of what matters to actively shape how this technology integrates into our lives and our work. We need to define the future based on what we believe is essential to being human, not just what's technically achievable.